Hello and welcome to English class standard 12th. Today we will be studying part 2 of Around the World in 80 Days. Around the World in 80 Days. It's the story of two travelers. The main characters are Phileas Fogg, and he is trying to win a bet that he has made with Reform Club that he can travel around the world in 80 days. These are the chapters that we will be studying in our portion Around the World in 80 Days. That will be chapter 34, in which Phileas Fogg at last reaches London, and chapter 35, in which Phileas Fogg does not have to repeat his orders to Passepartout twice. Chapter 34, in which Phileas Fogg at last reaches London. Here Phileas Fogg is being arrested under the suspicion by Fix that he is a robber and he has done the bank robbery. Phileas Fogg was in prison. He was shut up in the custom house and he was to be transferred to London the next day. Now Passepartout did not like that his master was arrested, so he falls upon Fix, but he is held back by some policemen. Auda is thunder-shocked at the suddenness of the event. Passepartout explains her how this honest and courageous Fogg is arrested as a robber. The young woman's heart does not want to accept the charge against Fogg, and she weeps bitterly. As far Fix is concerned, it is his duty to arrest Fogg as he is suspicious that Fogg is guilty of bank robbery. Passepartout feels that he is responsible for his master's arrest because he was beforehand knowing him that Fix was doubting Mr. Fogg, and Mr. Fogg could have been made alert and he could have given his proof of innocence that he was not the bank robber, and in this way he could have been stayed out of the problem and this arrest. Passepartout weeps till he gets blind and feels like blowing out his brain. Both Auda and Passepartout did not want to leave that place. They wanted to see Mr. Fogg again, so they were waiting outside the customs house. Mr. Fogg's plan was totally ruined at that moment. This arrest has proved a fatal for Mr. Fogg. Mr. Fogg had 9 hours in his hand, but the journey from Liverpool to London is 6 hours. At that moment, if anyone could enter the custom house, he could see Mr. Fogg sitting emotionlessly, calmly, without any apparent anger upon the wooden bench. Mr. Fogg was having the feeling that he was betrayed at the last moment. Phileas was sitting in the prison, speechlessly and motionlessly. He was continuously watching the time. The situation was terrible. It would be honest to say that Phileas was completely ruined. Phileas was waiting calmly. He still had hope. Fogg believed that he can escape from the prison. Thinking about the practical outlet of the prison, he was walking around the room slowly, but the door was locked and the bars were heavy. Fogg sat down and he has taken out his diary. He had noted the time before 21st December and he had written it on it. As he saw that the customs house watch and his watch had a difference of 2 hours time, he thought that if he could have taken the express train, he could have reached London before time. At 33 minutes past 2, he heard a singular voice outside his door. It was Passepartout's voice with Fix. Fogg's eyes brightened. The door swung open and Passepartout, Auda and Fix hurried towards him. Fix was out of his breath and was in disorder. He stammered and said to Fogg, "Sir, forgive me the most. You had the resemblance of that of a robber, but you are not the one, so you are free." Phileas Fogg was free now. Fogg walked to the detective and gave him a punch on his face. "Well hit," cried Passepartout in happiness. All the three rushed to catch the train. As it was 40 minutes past 2, the express train had already left. Phileas Fogg had then to order for a special train. The railway arrangements did not permit the special train to leave till 3 o'clock. Phileas Fogg had offered the engineer a generous reward to reach London fast. Fix, who was on the floor because of the punch given by Mr. Fogg, had reached the station by his cab. It was necessary to make the journey in 5 hours and a half, but as there were forced delays, and when Mr. Fogg stepped from the train at the terminus, all the clocks in London were striking 10 minutes before. He was behind hand 5 minutes and he had lost the bet. Chapter 35, in which Phileas Fogg does not have to repeat his orders to Passepartout twice. After reaching London, Mr. Fogg gives Passepartout certain instructions to purchase the provisions, and quietly they move towards the residence, Savilion Row. It was because of his blunder with the detective that they have lost the bet, feels Passepartout. After coming across 100 obstacles and many braved dangers, and have found time to do something to his way. Now they had a few pounds left with them out of the large sum that they have spent on the journey. Phileas Fogg had put the bet for his honor and not to earn the money. He has only left with the fortune of his own and £20,000 that have been deposited at the Barings. That is the only amount that he is owed to his friends of the Reform Club. But he has lost the bet, and now the bet has ruined him totally. Aouda was able to understand that Mr. Fogg was in depression and he was not in a mood to talk with her. He was deciding and meditating something. Along with Aouda, Passepartout also realizes that his master is upset, so he keeps a careful watch on his master. He also gets a bill from the gas company and he realizes that he had forgot to extinguish the gas burner and it had kept burning for 80 days. He rushes into his room to extinguish it. After the night has passed, Passepartout watched all night like a faithful dog at his master's door. Also, Aouda did not shut her eyes even for a second throughout the night. Mr. Fogg called him in the morning and told him to get Aouda's breakfast and a cup of tea and also something to eat. He also desired that Aouda should excuse him for the breakfast and dinner, as this time he wants to put his affairs in right place. In the evening, he asks the permission to Aouda to have a conversation with him. He asks Passepartout to leave and keep them alone so that they can talk freely. Passepartout is not at the moment ready to leave him alone because he feels that he is responsible for the losing of bet. Passepartout now is emotional and feels guilty and goes to the master and cries that why doesn't he curse him for the fault of him as he has betrayed him because he was knowing exactly the detective Fix's plan. But Fox says he doesn't want to blame anyone and asks Passepartout to go at once. Passepartout leaves the room sadly and finds Oda and convinces her to influence Fogg, but she herself is helpless as Fogg is not influenced by anyone. Both Oda and Passepartout feel that Fogg is extremely upset as he has lost the bet and they both want to help him out. Fogg was extremely sad and did not carry out his daily activities as for going out to the club. His friends did not expect him there because he did not appear on the evening of 21st December before 9:15, which was the time decided for the bet, and so he had lost the bet. It was not even necessary to go to the bankers for £20,000 because he has already handed a check to his friends of Reform Club, so he felt why should he go to the Reform Club? As Mr. Fogg had to talk something important with Oda, he went to her and sat beside her with extreme calmness on his face. Fogg sat silently for a long time and then he asked Oda to excuse him, and before Oda could say anything he said that he had brought her from the country because she was unsafe there and also he was rich at that time so he could have helped her out, but now he is ruined and he has lost the bet and has spent all the money in his journey, so now he can't help her out. Oda said that she knows it and perhaps she thinks that she is the reason for his ruin and he won't have followed her, so she asked him to forgive her, but he said that India was not safe for her, so to bring her at the distance place was right. Both have considerate conversation between them and Fogg wished to present whatever left wealth he has to Oda. Both convince each other that whatever has happened is a part of fate, and Oda feels that being a human being, a man like Fogg should not lose friends. Fogg says that he has neither friends nor relatives to share the grief, to which Oda replies that it is a misery in itself, and so she proposes him to accept her as his wife. Fogg stands speechless in front of Oda. Oda and Fogg both exchange good notes between them and thus decide to get married. Immediately Fogg called Passepartout to notify of their marriage in Marylebone Parish that evening. Passepartout gets extremely happy and excited. Passepartout says as it's already 8:05, so the notification can be done for tomorrow Monday. Fogg confirms with Oda and Passepartout hurriedly moves out to do notifying the church for Monday. Thanks for watching. Meet you in the next class. Till then, goodbye.
So friends, don't forget to subscribe the channel and share the video and also to like the video. Thanks for watching.